Just a girl that wants to talk about the new moon in Capricorn. Hi all. Okay, I'm going to try to make this a very succinct new moon in Capricorn reading. I want to disclaim by saying that today is January 17th, 2026. We are in the throes of a fascist takeover, and it might feel a little frivolous to talk about money and abundance. However, the new moon in Capricorn is, like I said before, the first several months of 2026 they're not super conducive to individual manifesting. They're very much about the collective. They are very much about being uncomfortable, which relates to Capricorn because a Capricorn is willing to get uncomfortable for the sake of a goal. You have to be willing to sacrifice your comfort. What you are doing when you're putting your body on the line, when you're putting your job on the line, when you're putting your safety, mental health on the line is you are basically surrendering white supremacy in that moment. You are deciding that you are foregoing the comforts that the system has given you. And that's what's so shocking for a lot of the country right now is understanding that what it means to put your body on the line and what it means to use your privilege is to lose your privilege. You're using your privilege in order to lose your privilege. So let me just start by saying that I'm going to focus on just these cards, and I am going to be talking about manifesting and money and creating material wealth. So if that's not where you are right now, this is probably not the reading for you to listen to. But there is no dispute in the spiritual world, to me at least, about a right to abundance and a right to dignity. To me, the dignity is the wealth of it all, the abundance of it all. So that's the disclaimer. Now we're just going to get into what is going on with these cards. And we're going to talk about what the new moon in Capricorn is asking from each of you based on your rising sign. Okay, so the first card I pulled is the moon. The moon is ruled by Pisces. It is about illusion, fear, the subconscious, and intuition. So something that is notable about this to me is that yesterday, or a couple days ago, I pulled something from my Bhagavad Gita deck, and it was the card about overcoming fear. So the main point of that scripture, without getting into too many details about what the story is, that somebody is asking God or Source, how am I supposed to do this without fear? And God, nobody said you're supposed to do this without fear. You're supposed to have fear. You just have to rename fear. You have to understand what fear is, and you have to understand that you have the ability to overcome that fear. And the antidote to fear is spirituality. It is meditation. It is nourishing yourself. It is hydrating. It is moving your body. It is going into the world and connecting with people. It is reading stories. It is going to shows. It is literally just being a human being. So when the moon comes up, it is saying, from a very zoomed out spiritual perspective, it is saying everything that you're worried about right now is an illusion. Everything. Every single thing. Thinking about which peptide you should start taking to make yourself look younger for longer. An illusion. Thinking about, and I know it seems insane to mention this after something as frivolous as peptides, but everything about Israel-Palestine on a spiritual level, the situation itself is an illusion. What's not an illusion is what you feel when you're experiencing it and what has been drummed up in you since it started or since you learned about it. And that goes for anything in your life. The lesson is real. The experience is somewhat real, but the thing itself is not real. And the moon is asking you to process painful and joyful memories, to process painful and joyful experiences in real time as much as you can, to give yourself the credit of understanding that you are just a body experiencing this for the sake of the development of your soul. Why? Why big picture? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm always like, but then what? Then we learn all these lessons and then we die and then what? And I don't know. But I am here to tell you with certainty, with the most uncertain certainty, that the point of all of this is to go through these lessons over and over. And I think when it is most useful to remember that everything is an illusion is in the situations where, like, you want to get angry, when you want to troll back on social media, when you want to start a petty fight, when you feel like when you're angry because you're not getting a parking spot, or you're being inconvenienced in a very minor way, that's when the flag of, oh, this is all an illusion, needs to wave. Okay, so then we have 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands is the very end of a cycle. It has been coming up nonstop for everybody in my readings the last few weeks. It is very hard work. It is having an intense burden on your shoulders, and it is also very Capricorn themed in that it is you being willing to take on a lot of extra work for the sake of the long-term goal. So what this means for this collective, I think, is taking a good hard look at the way you spend money and what you're spending money on, with whom you're spending money, because this is saying if for the next 90 days, considering that this is a new moon reading, I'm going to say if for 6 months, okay, you don't ever have to do it again. But in 2026, especially, listen to me, I'm really begging you here. The astrology of 2026 is unlike anything that we will have if you are anywhere close to my age in our life. Actually, no matter where you are, no matter how old you are watching this, we will not have another year like 2026 for a long time. And especially if you are in the States, I hate to put pressure on you and say, this is the year that you have to write the novel. This is the year that you have to create the TikTok. This is the year that you have to do it, but it is. And it's not to say that it can't happen after this year. It's just that this year, despite what you will see and what you will experience, especially if you're in the States, it can yield the highest results. And you have to be very strategic about it, very Capricorn about it. So this 10 of Wands is, yes, I know. I know that you've been working 3 jobs since you were 16. I know that you feel time slipping through your fingers. I know that you feel devastated at the state of the world. I know. But a Capricorn, they don't really give a fuck. They don't really give a fuck. They hear you and they understand, but they don't. It to a Capricorn, a heavy Capricorn placement, it's a circumstance, never a hurdle, it just is. It's like hard things for Capricorns just exist. And sorry. Anyway, so 10 of Wands is very much you're right there. Like the good news is right around the corner. You're right about to turn around, but this person or this thing is waiting for you. So I really strongly encourage you with the new moon in Capricorn to be a little bit strategic about where you're going to go and how you're going to use your resources, especially your personal energy. So what kind of things are you going to say yes to over the next 6 months? And what can you do? Maybe you need to tell your friends, I'm doing better than I've done. My business is doing better than it's done. In order for me to keep that rolling, I can't go out for frivolous dinners or a ton of drinks, or just communicate. Say it matter-of-factly, as in the way that Capricorn would. Just say, I can't party tonight. I can't spend this $200 for this trip. I can't, because the work that you put in for the first 6 months of 2026, again, I can't overstate this. It will affect the rest of your life. And I don't mean like you need to have success in the next 6 months. You need to put things in place. So if you want a social media channel to launch, it doesn't matter if you're getting 5 views on every video. If you are consistent for the next 6 months, whatever that means, it will yield results. It will. It doesn't matter what sign you are. There are some signs that will have an even better second half of the year, and you're not going to believe me. You won't believe any of this until mid-May. In fact, I think February and March, you're going to be cursing me, thinking that I was so rude to give you any optimism. But I promise you, it's going to be really depraved until about April, which is why this Capricorn mindset is so important right now. Don't worry to the degree that you are engaging in the way that you should with the collective and with social justice, but don't worry about, I haven't heard, and there's been nothing in my inbox. I am not getting any more followers. I am going on several unsuccessful dates. Just keep going. A Capricorn does not care. They just do it. They just do it because they're built to do it. Capricorn is my Vic moon. It's a little bit cold and it serves you. It will serve you to detach, not disassociate, to detach. Don't worry about the outcomes of calling your reps. Don't worry about the outcomes of going to the protest. Don't worry about the outcomes of posting 3 reels a day, of incorporating half a plate of greens into your diet every day. don't worry about that right now. Just do it trusting that it's the right thing to do, and that it is a matter of law. That in doing that, inherently the thing that you want will happen. So then finally, of the Nine of Wands reversed, and the Nine of Wands reversed is paranoia. It's being very defensive. It's struggling. This, I think, is the feeling that people are going to struggle with. But New Moon in Capricorn is very materialistic, and I think there are a lot of people that are going to be raging against the machine, and I get it. I too am raging against the machine, but there is an element of you needing to accept where we are in the imperial boomerang, accepting that you still are under the umbrella of capitalism and that you still deserve, no matter what system we're under, you deserve a life of abundance. It's not selfish of you to have wanted. The things that you have desired for your life are tiny and minuscule in comparison to what people are taking, right? So you have to flip that narrative a little bit. You have to be a little bit Capricorn about that and think, I deserve that big house. I deserve that range. There's a difference. So be discerning about that and understand that. But this Nine of Wands reversed is very much like the struggle. It's you not continuing to pursue a goal because it doesn't seem as important to you. It seems a little bit impossible. And also there's an element of you feeling more comfortable not accomplishing the thing, especially if you're a fairly high achieving person, as it is. This is very much a new moon that will make you go, you know what? It's like, is that big of a deal? Am I being selfish in wanting this? And no, the reason that you want it is because it is meant for you. It is meant for you. So it's a very fine line to toe. The one between wanting for New Moon in Capricorn material wealth and abundance, and also feeling like it is dirty to want that. So as much as you can, you want to get rid of the shame that you have around abundance and money. The Nine of Wands reversed comes up when you're just like a little overwhelmed. You don't know. You feel like there are a million other things you should be doing. And in this case, I think this is about you thinking that you should be pursuing other, like, collective justice. You should be doing more, air quotes, if you're listening and not watching, for the collective. But the New Moon in Capricorn is saying to you, no, you are meant to be wealthy, abundant person. You are meant to be in the spotlight. You are meant to be revered and sought after, and you are meant to have stability for the rest of your life. You are not the problem. We're not the problem. Billionaires are the problem. Period. And New Moon in Capricorn can feel a little bit complicated that way because New Moon in Capricorn energy is very, I'm going to be a billionaire too energy. But that's, if you're here, that's not what we're talking about. And I very openly talk about how I am somebody that is striving for material wealth, and I appreciate having material wealth, and I plan on continuing to have material wealth. And there are lots of things like under the patriarchy that I'm striving for. I'm still striving to be married. So there are a lot of things that will feel that you will question because you don't know if you actually want them or if they are what society has told you're supposed to want. So you have to do the work. Like I had to do the work of understanding like, oh, I genuinely want to be a wife, and I genuinely care about being rich because I really deeply care about giving money to others. And I don't want to hear other people bitch about what we should be doing. I just want to be able to handle it with my money. If you're struggling with that, this Nine of Wands reversed is very much like you don't deserve to be punished for wanting more for yourself, and nobody's out to get you in your personal life. There is a system that is out to get you, but in your personal life, everybody wants, not everybody, but the people that you know, the people that are meant to be in your life want the same success for you that you hope for yourself. And if there are people in your life that are making you feel guilty about wanting what it is that you want, those people aren't supposed to be in your life. And if you're a Traders fan, if you're dealing with a lot of people that are commiserating, that's also not it. That's very crabs in a bucket attitude. That's like feeling sorry for yourselves together. There's not a ton of time for that because the situation is pretty dire. But New Moon in Capricorn is asking you to put your money where your mouth is, invest long term in your health, in yourself, in the community, invest long-term in the things that you actually want for yourself because they are good for the community, and believe in your deservability. Believe in your worth. The New Moon in Capricorn card from the Moonology deck by Yasmin Boland says, your hard work is paying off. And it reads, first and foremost, this card suggests a new start for you professionally. Whatever has been going on in your working life, this card heralds the start of a new and improved work cycle. If you're unhappy in your current job, this is the time to either renegotiate your position or look for something new. Whatever your question, whether work-related or otherwise, a new plan and strategy is called for. You need to take a look at the long term and think about where you want to be in 12 months or even 5 years' time. That will inform your best course of action. So make a proper plan and execute it well. You need to be more disciplined to reach your goal. That is something about Capricorn. Like, you do actually have to be ready to wake up and work out. And same for wanting to enact change in our government or in our country. It's very slow and steady. I went to a meeting today with city council members up for re-election, and they're talking about like where they need to paint crosswalks and who needs new stop signs for the sake of local on the ground. How do we keep these people safe that are right around us? And that's where your focus needs to be long term, because ultimately that's how you will accomplish what it is that you want. So here is where the new moon is falling for you according to your rising sign. Capricorn rising, this is in your first house of identity, body, presence, and a personal reboot. So when we're talking about the new moon in Capricorn, we're talking about a long-term plan for you to be more authentic. In 5 years, how do you want somebody at Thanksgiving to introduce you? That's what you want to think about. Aquarius rising, this is in your 12th house of rest, transitions, and the subconscious. Aquarius rising, Pluto has just entered Aquarius, so we have 18 years of you guys, the humanitarians, being highlighted and focused on. And so this new moon is asking you to consider how you are going to protect your energy long term. What are long-term energetic practices that you are going to implement? So then we have Pisces rising. This is in your 11th house of friends, networking, long-term desires, and collaboration in a way. So with the new moon in Capricorn being there, what are the long-term plans for you that will help you, or who can you network with that will help you accomplish your long-term goals? So maybe over the next 6 months, what you need to do is get more out into your community and establish more connections. Keep in mind with a Capricorn 11th house that it needs to be reciprocal. So don't be shy. Present somebody with what you bring to the table, and then they will be likely to want to invest as well. Aries rising. This is falling in 10th house of career and vocation, also like public image. With the new moon in Capricorn in your 10th house, this is about you activating long-term plans for your career. So you may want to establish a partnership or a collaboration with somebody. You may need to circle back to people that said they were going to help you and ask for that help now. Rising, this is in your 9th house of philosophy, higher learning, travel, and like gurus or teachers. And this is about Taurus risings needing to commit to some kind of long-term education plan. This would be a great time to sign up for a course or to get like CECs, continuing education credits in any field that you're in. This would be a good time to start a 6-month goal of, I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish. I'm going to finally learn how to edit videos. I'm going to whatever. Because again, the energy in the collective is very much going to be like, oh my God, it's so crazy out there and I'm doing what I can. But I got to learn. It might be actually social justice minded for some Taurus risings, and it could be something that you could do from bed. Learning how to, I don't know. Okay. So then we have Gemini rising. This is happening in your 8th house of shared money, debt, and taxes, anything that is structured that you owe. So this is a good time if you are having any issues with taxes or have had any issues with taxes or anything like any paperwork or anything that kind of the government has its thumb on you for. This is a really good period of time to focus on that and think of a long-term plan. If you have a lot of debt and you are a Gemini rising, this is a really good time to refinance or figure out how exactly you're going to tackle it, and to forego the shame, to just figure it out, because it's not a big deal. We're on a floating rock. Nobody cares if you have credit card debt. It has nothing to do with your worth. Cancer rising. This is happening in your 7th house of marriage, long-term partnerships, and business collaborations. This is long-term and in the 7th house. So if you are a Cancer rising and you're in a relationship that you don't want to be in, you need to shit or get off the pot. Just break up with them. It's just enough is enough. Also, this is about, if you are a Cancer rising seeking partnership, you need to have a plan. Like, how many dates are you going to go on a month? You have to actually implement. I know that sucks. I'm a Vedic Cancer rising. I'm choosing to ignore that. Okay. Then Leo rising. This is in your 6th house of health, daily routine, and your habits. So with New Moon in Capricorn, maybe you're cutting down on caffeine. Maybe you're starting a workout routine. You're starting with 15-20 minutes a day and you're working your way up. But the energy that is around this right now, by June, you really could be in like the best shape of your life. So it's worth it to try. Virgo rising, this is happening in your 5th house of dating, children, and creativity. So with the New Moon in Capricorn, we're talking about you needing to create a long-term plan for your creativity, for the projects that you want to birth. You need to start just doing one little thing every day. That's what's going to get you there. Libra rising, this is in your 4th house of home, family, and foundation. So if you want to buy a home in the next 6 months, God bless. But in general, you need to start researching, start looking for homes, start looking into how much money you need to have set aside for a down payment, start looking into financing options, start studying the market perhaps if you want. But Libra rising, it's important to you to have beauty, and your home is important. You are ruled by Venus. If ultimately you want the home of your dreams, this New Moon in Capricorn would be the one to create that vision board and to start going for that goal. Scorpio rising, this is in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, and writing, and also short distance travel. So this is striking me as somebody that has something to write and to publish. Any 3rd house placements, you are meant to be a storyteller, especially if you have a moon in the 3rd house. So if you are watching this and you have your moon in the 3rd house, and especially if you are Scorpio rising with a Capricorn moon in the 3rd house, this is a highly potent time to release stories. Like, start a Substack, start communicating really openly. This also could be for people just on a day-to-day basis. You might need to start a chore wheel or start some real communication with your family on a day-to-day basis. Sagittarius rising, this is in our 2nd house of money and possessions in the year of our Lord 2026, like right now. If you are Sagittarius rising and you are trying to get your money up, or you're trying to create a long-term plan of financial health for yourself, this is not a moon to sleep on. I would definitely say make an abundance bowl. I'm going to do another one I'm going to film doing another one so that people know for sure how to do it. But this is, take a good hard look at your finances and don't shy away from it. Just look at it. Just look at it and figure it out. Many of you are coming into a lot of money this year, and you're expanding in your head what you are capable of receiving. And you need to, as the money comes in this year for you, you need to not self-sabotage when it comes in. So focusing on a 6-month long-term plan for financial health is really important. I think I've covered all 12 signs, and I think I've said a lot about this New Moon in Capricorn. It is quite potent. We enter eclipse season pretty much immediately after this. And so from now until May, I would say from like February 1st until May, what you should be working on is what you are manifesting with this new moon. There's not going to be a ton of time for new things. That being said, I also have a little bit of a feeling about February, and I'm going to post a video about it just after this. I'm going to post it to Patreon exclusively, just because it is content that I think requires your consent to watch, in that it is a little bit concerning, especially if you live in the States. You can join my Patreon for free, or you can donate $4.44 a month. I also lead people through the artist's way, if that is something that you're interested in and is a process that you've been looking for or wanting to go through. What else? I think this year, I've said this to many of you, but this year is going to be weird because there will be so much individual success. But the first few months are just really brutal, and I don't want you to worry too much. New moon in Capricorn is like, focus, just stay focused. Because again, if you can commit to doing what it is that you want to do, taking a step every day towards what it is you ultimately want in 2026, no matter what your placements are, you will see success. So no matter what, for these next 2 months especially, keep going. And above all, let's just do our best.